Hello guys, this is Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com, and we are here today with a tutorial on how to build a successful YouTube channel. Now this has actually been the most requested topic that I have gotten from you guys since I've been on YouTube. I get lots of questions, lots of comments every day. How do you do this? How do you do that? What software are you using? What camera are you using? All types of things like that. So I figured I would just make a video. You asked for it, you got it, and so that is what we are going to talk about today. What I will need you to do is pour yourself a nice big mug of iced coffee. That would be strong black coffee poured over ice, no sugar, no sweeteners, none needed. And I will need you to get ready to learn some cool new stuff. So why am I qualified to talk about YouTube success? I've had a little bit of it on my own. I am up to 155,000 subscribers on my channel. I have a very active community, a lot of engagement with my users, a lot of success. And so kind of like, I think that I'm over 100,000 subscribers. I got the letter from the president of YouTube. I got the nice award and everything. Over 100,000 subscribers and on my way to 1 million with you guys' help. So let's talk about it, because I know a lot of you guys are looking at different areas that you would like to be on YouTube in, and so I just want to answer kind of a lot of the questions that I've been getting over the last few years, as well as just sort of show you the things that I've seen that work and the things that I've seen that don't work at all. And so what I'll do is I'll come in and I will just jump in and talk to you about my top 10 tips. The first tip is the kind of like, to me, the most important component of success is carefully picking the theme of your channel. That theme is very, very important. And kind of with that idea of theme, I want to introduce this right up front, and that is that content is more important early on than production quality. You want the content, the information in your video to be extremely important, extremely valuable, extremely useful to the viewer. It's all about content, and content is much more important than production quality. And so what you will want to do is you will want to focus on content. And what I see a lot of people as they're getting started, they kind of do the opposite of this. They think, oh, I'm going to do a YouTube channel. Oh, I got to go out and I got to buy a camera, and I got to do this and I got to do that, and all about spending money and getting the studio put together and fancy transitions between the scenes and all that sort of stuff. And they have a great production capability, but they really don't have anything to say. And so what I would recommend new people getting going on YouTube is it's all about content. You want your production quality, your goal for production quality should be just good enough. Just good enough, and your focus should be on the exceptional nature of your content. And to have exceptional content, you've really got to have a theme. And so you got to think very carefully about the theme of your YouTube channel before you get started, and then you want your videos to always build on that theme. Now what you got to do is you got to pick that theme very carefully, and so I want to kind of give you do's and don'ts on the theme that you pick. The first is it's got to be a theme that you have a passion for, because if you do not have a passion for the topic, you will never be successful, because people sense that passion and that expertise that you have that comes from your passion. And if you don't have a passion for the topic, you are just wasting your time, because that is something that people are very perceptive. They can perceive whether or not you have a passion for what you're talking about. So ask yourself what you're thinking about making these videos on. Is it that you're just doing it because you have to, or are you doing it because you have a passion for it? Okay, passion by itself is not enough. You have to have expertise. You need to be a subject matter expert in this topic that you have a passion for. So in picking a theme, number one, what do you have a passion for? And number two, what do you have expertise in? The third thing is it needs to be a topic that you are so excited about that you are willing to make the videos for free. Okay, you are willing to make the videos for free, because making money on YouTube or making money in any online type of endeavor is a very, very slow process. And you better pick something that you're willing to spend 5 years working on without making any money, because that's probably how long it takes to really build a successful channel. And by success, I mean you want to focus on success as you are providing value to your viewers. And if you focus on that, focus on providing value to your viewers, eventually, yes, it can make money and it can generate income. But if you go into this thinking, I'm going to go in and become the next YouTube millionaire, probably not going to happen. It needs to be something that you have a passion for, that you have expertise in, you're willing to do it for free, and if you do those things, yes, eventually you can actually make money on it. So those are the do's. Let's talk about the don'ts. And these are some of the largest pitfalls that I see people falling into when they put together a new YouTube channel. First thing that you got to be very, very careful about is copyrights, because on YouTube, 3 copyright strikes and they will cancel your channel. And a lot of times, if you're not careful, early on you'll make a few videos, maybe use a song that's copyrighted or maybe some graphic material that's copyrighted, and then you move on. Maybe you start developing success in your channel and start being more careful about things like copyright. But darn it, some of those early videos where you weren't careful, they'll get tagged and you will get your channel canceled. So some of the problem areas with copyrights are, one of the largest ones is music, and you've got to be careful with music. Even like, let's say that you're in the park and you're talking to someone in the park about something and there is music blaring in the background, that can be a copyright violation. If you can hear on the video music and almost all music is copyrighted, you are setting yourself up for a copyright strike. Also, you got to think about choosing a topic that would allow you to actively engage your user base, your user community, without violating copyright. So if you were going to do a YouTube channel on a certain band or on a certain type of music, you're probably getting yourself in trouble right away, because how are you going to fully engage people on that topic without using the music? And so you want to pick something that you can be very careful about copyrights on. And these days everything is born copyrighted, so just about any material that you use on your channel that you did not generate yourself is probably violating a copyright. If you use a picture on your channel, you need to have taken that picture. If you use a song on your channel, you either need to have permission from the person who made it, and that's not just the person performing it, also the person who wrote it, or you need to have done it yourself. And so the quickest way to sabotage your channel is to violate copyrights. And very similar to copyrights is trademarks, and almost all corporate logos, almost all sports team logos, almost all of that sort of stuff is copyrighted. Is trademarked. And so imagine that you wanted to do a channel on the Dallas Cowboys. Well, did you know that the Dallas Cowboys logo is trademarked? And you could actually technically be violating the trademark if you did something as simple as showed a picture of a player with that helmet on, okay? Also, because the logo on the helmet is trademarked. And also, since you are probably not in the Dallas Cowboy training camp or locker room, you probably didn't take that picture of that player. So if you do so many of these things associated with popular culture, whether it's music, or it's sports, or it's entertainment figures, you're almost guaranteed to be right off the bat either violating copyrights or violating trademarks, or the third topic here where you get yourself in trouble is publicity rights. Each person has a right to privacy, and each person has a publicity right, which means they have the right to benefit solely from their image or likeness. And so simply posting a picture of Kim Kardashian on your YouTube channel. First of all, did you take the picture? If you didn't, you're violating copyrights. If she has a Coca-Cola in her hand, you're now violating trademarks. And then the third thing that that you would be doing is potentially violating publicity rights. Usually publicity rights are associated with famous people, and privacy rights are associated with the right a person has just not to be shown on your channel if they don't want to. So the things that you need to do in thinking about the theme that you are going to have for your channel is make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure with copyrights, trademarks, publicity rights, or privacy rights. I will tell you on this channel, when I did the series of lessons on Fusion 360, where I was going to open up that piece of software and train people how to do it, that has the Fusion 360 logo on it, and I'm talking about Fusion 360, which is trademarked. So before I made those lessons, I sent an email to Autodesk, and I said, hey, I would like to make a series of tutorials on this software. I understand that I shouldn't feature your trademark when I'm doing that, and I understand I need to make sure people know that I'm not representing you or don't work for you, but I would like to use your software and just do a series of tutorials. They said, well, thank you for contacting us. The things that you mentioned are very important to us, and yes, what you described we feel like would be in our interest, and we would like to see you do the tutorials. Man, that's great to get that out of the way up front so that I don't invest 6 months in making a tutorial series and then find out that I have in some way offended the company that owns the trademark to the software that I am describing. And so people get in trouble on these things all the time. So when you pick a theme, remember, content is more important than the production qualities. It's got to be something you got a passion for, you have expertise in, you're willing to work on it for free. The other thing is you got to avoid copyrights, trademarks, and you have to avoid problems with publicity rights and privacy rights. All right, now, another do that you want to do in selecting a theme is you want to pick something that you've got some shot at competing in. And one of the problems that I see is that if you just start up a gaming channel, man, there's a million people playing a million different games, and how are you going to distinguish yourself from everyone else? Or I'm going to give, I'm going to have like investing, how to day trade. Man, there's a million people out there day trading. If you're going to establish a presence on YouTube, you've got to create a narrow niche. You've got to create a special little niche, okay? Like maybe a special little niche would be day trading pork belly futures. So you've got to pick something very, very narrow that you have expertise in, or maybe a particular subtle aspect of a certain specific game. You've got to establish your beachhead with something very, very specific. So if you're just going to be a general topic on computers, you're never going to get yourself out of the noise because there are so many channels on computers or so many channels on technology. Another one is like product reviews. Well, that's a hard one to break into because there's millions of people doing product reviews. You would need to, if you were going to do a channel based on product reviews, it would need to start out anyway very, very narrow and very, very focused. Now, if you started something that was very, very narrow and very, very focused, and you started developing a following in that niche area, you've established your beachhead, then you can move out into other areas. And so rather than technology in general, what if you made a channel on high quality microphones, okay? And it's all about what microphone does what microphone's the best value, what are the pros and cons of different microphones, how to use microphones, how to get the most out of the microphone that you have, okay? But you start with microphones, and then as you start building an audience and building a following, then maybe you start branching out into video cameras, okay? But you got to start very narrow, focused, establish yourself, and then begin to branch out. Okay, another big issue in the theme for your channel is, I gotta say, YouTube has enough narcissistic channels, and that's the last thing that we need. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about your story. Nobody cares about what you think or what you feel. What people care about is what skill you have, what knowledge you have and how they can benefit from it. Because there's enough channels with people who think they're cute or think they're clever or all that sort of stuff. Being successful in that arena, no matter how cute you think you are or how clever you think you are or how funny you think you are, that's a 1 in a million chance. But where you can be guaranteed of success is where you are a subject matter expert, where you have a skill or you have knowledge that is beneficial to people. And if you bring that knowledge to people, you will be successful on YouTube. Okay, they care about your skills, they care about your knowledge, they don't care about your opinion. And so that is just a little advice there. Also, like if you think about if you're thinking about a channel where you might interview people or you might, kind of talk to people about different things, you got to understand, if you've got no subscribers, nobody's going to show up on your channel. Nobody's going to be a guest on your channel because you're an unknown. And so you've got to develop some level of following. So let's go back to our microphone example. Let's say after you had a few thousand subscribers and you wanted to talk to an audiophile, maybe they would be willing to come on and be interviewed on your channel. But you've got to build some credibility before you should expect anyone to be willing to come on and be interviewed or be on your channel. So that is the number one issue, I think, in being successful, is picking a theme and picking a right theme, something that you've got passion for, expertise in, willing to work for free, and something where you have knowledge and expertise that people care about. So the most important thing in being successful on YouTube is picking a good theme. Okay, I did tell you that your content is more important than your production quality, and your goal on production quality should be to be just good enough to get by. I will say on my channel, I got to over 50,000 subscribers with nothing but a $100 webcam, okay? Because my content was exceptional, but my production quality, my studio quality was just good enough to get by. Now, I will admit that I'm a little embarrassed by the production quality of some of my earlier videos. And what I can say is that knowing what I know now, you can get a lot higher quality production value out of a $100 camera than what I did. And so let me just kind of show you in my studio right now. I've been on YouTube 7 years now, 150,000 subscribers, so I've been able to invest in my studio, but it was little baby steps over time. Again, I started and I got to 50,000 subscribers with nothing but a $100 webcam, okay? But now I would say several $1,000s in the camera, software, high-end computer, all that. I probably am at $5,000, and at $5,000 in a studio, you've really got something that you can do really, really incredible things with. But let me just show you what you could do with a $100 webcam. And so, like, how would you get started in a studio? Well, what you would like is you would like to basically, and I've got links down below to this stuff that we're going to be talking about. You need, I would say, a nice webcam would be a Logitech webcam. There's like the C920, which is a pretty nice one, and they're somewhere around $100 to $150, depending on. It seems like the price is varying a lot these days. But let me just show you and kind of say, all right, I'm going to remove my $5,000 studio, and let's just see what you could do with a $100 webcam and a free software package called Open Broadcast System, or Open Broadcast Software. It's OBS. You can look it up and you can download it for free. And what you can do is, I am just going to switch over to that. And so one of the things we lose when we don't have a $5,000 studio, we lose the fancy graphics background. And then here I'm switching to a $100 camera. So this is probably a $3,000 camera, and this is a $100 camera. And what I want you to see of all your studio equipment, like the big mistake you guys go out and buy a $2,000 or a $3,000 camera, And the quality of your production depends less on the camera than just about anything else. A fancy camera is the last thing that you should buy, not the first thing that you should buy. So we're here on a $100 webcam. And the other thing, since we're going to the $100 setup, I have to turn off the fancy studio lights. Okay, so now we really are on, you could, and this fancy title, I've got to lose this. So we're going to talk about what you can do for $100. All right, so I've got the webcam and I've got the free OBS software. You can download and install the OBS software. Like I say, if there's interest in this, I can show you how to do it. So you're on screen and you can be heard, and you are now generating content for $100. Well, the next thing that you can do, and this is still for the $100, you can do this in OBS. You can have an inset of yourself against a screen capture. So here you could be here teaching to code. Okay, teaching to code, and they can see you and they can see your screen and they can see it clearly. And this we're doing for a $100 investment in the studio. All right, now I want to give you guys a little tip here, and that is show yourself in your shots. People like people. They want that human connection. And I know a lot of sites with great content, but what it is the site is just, let's see here, it is just who you are. All right, so show yourself. Now this again, I'm saying we can do this with a $100 camera and free software. You can get to this point. If you want to spend another $10 and take the production quality, take your studio up a level, get a green screen. A green screen is not something fancy. A green screen is just green. Now this one is a piece of cloth, but you can actually do green screen with green paper. If you get a roll of green butcher paper and if you put it behind you where the screen is filled up, you can do green screen. And this here is with let's say $10 of green screen paper, of just a green paper that you put behind you. It's a $100 webcam and it is free software. And I would say here this is pretty darn good for $100. Like, you could, with nothing else than what I'm showing you here, you could get to 50,000 subscribers if your content is compelling, if you are a subject matter expert, if you are bringing something valuable to people. This is pretty darn good for $100. And you guys, again, if there is interest, if you would like to know more, let me know, and I could teach you how to use OBS. I could teach you how to set your cameras up. I could teach you how to get the maximum bang for your buck in your studio. Okay, now what is it that is the biggest problem? And I hope you've noticed this. If you look at this now, what is the biggest problem in this $100 setup? Is it the video quality? No, it's the audio quality. So after your $100 webcam and your free software and your $10 for a green screen, the next thing that you want is a good microphone. So let's go from the microphone on the webcam to a Yeti microphone. Oh my, I think that is a huge step forward in audio quality to get that Yeti microphone. You don't need it initially, but one of the first investments that you should make in your studio is in the microphone. Now, I struggled for years with audio quality, and I kept buying microphones and buying microphones and buying microphones, and my audio always was lousy. It sounded like I was in a tin can. It was picking up background noise. It had hissing and popping. What I learned was that I was buying microphones that plugged into the audio card of my computer, and that audio card was just not studio quality. the huge step forward after spending hundreds of dollars on the wrong kind of microphone. What I found the key to good audio is a USB microphone. Okay, and this Yeti is a USB microphone. And since I got this Yeti microphone, day and night difference in my audio quality. So what I would recommend for you guys to get started would be $100 Logitech webcam and I don't know if it's somewhere probably 100 to 150 Yeti microphone and the free OBS software, and you guys are going to be good to go. Okay, now the next thing that I would say is I can come back over here, and I'm still on the low cost. I'm on the low cost camera, and I am on the nice microphone. Okay, the next thing after you get your webcam and after you get your good microphone, the next thing up would be studio lights. Okay, and the studio lights are about $200. The impact on your quality, your production quality with good studio lights is going to be immense. Much more important than the camera. In $200 to $250 you can get a nice setup for studio lights. Again, I've got links down below if you want to see what I'm using. I think mine were a little over $200. But now this isn't going to be real dramatic because it just so happens in the room that I'm in and where I am, it has very good lighting. But what I want to show you is when you go to studio lighting, it's going to take me a second to get them set up here. But let me switch over to my studio lights, and when I do this I need to go and adjust my camera settings because I tweaked my camera settings for the room light. And so let me come here and see if I can get these a little bit better. Okay, and I'm doing all this on the fly, but you've got fairly good ability to set the parameters on this camera, and you can see right here from where I'm looking, I look kind of red. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to darken it up a little bit, and I'm going to work on the color balance a little bit. Okay, and guys, I'll give you a tip on these Logitechs. Once you put whatever camera you're using, once you put a green screen behind you, turn the auto white balance off because it's trying to balance out all that green it's seeing. You want to turn auto white balance off. Okay, actually that looks pretty good to me. Let's see here, maybe a okay, you can see that just playing with this a little bit, and we are to pretty darn good quality. And so let's see, how much money do we have? $100, $150, $250. We're under $500, and I would say that we are getting pretty darn good production quality. Pretty darn good production quality. Okay, now you're thinking, now do I get to buy a camera? Now do I get to buy a camera? No, you don't get to buy a camera, because there's something even more important than the camera, and that is this OBS software does an incredible job, and you will be shocked at how far you can get with the OBS software. But at some point you'll want to upgrade to Wirecast, and Wirecast is professional software, and it costs about $600. But with Wirecast you get the ability to set up amazing shots. It's much easier to set shots up that you can scroll through, and you can kind of do your own as you are talking. You see, I can talk, and I can be doing the control room as I am teaching, as I am talking. Okay, it's still, this is the cheap camera, but with the $600, one of the really cool things that you get with Wirecast, of all the wonderful things you get with Wirecast, one of the really cool things is you a media library that has over 500,000 pieces of content that you have the right. So like this fancy background is downloaded from Wirecast, or is used from Wirecast, and it like doesn't matter what topic that you are interested in or making a video on, you can find stunning media material to use in. Okay, this is one that I was just playing around with, and I thought it was pretty.
I thought it was pretty amazing that this is that looks like white blood cells and red blood cells that we are able to use in our video or as a background.
So just about anything that you can imagine, you can find stunning media content for with Wirecast. Also, there's a lot of background music that you can use. Let's see. This was just a little thing I did at one point.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
I thought that was pretty neat. So just you have this huge library of stuff that you can use with Wirecast. So yeah, I would go with Wirecast. Oops.
I went back to my old microphone. Now we're on the good microphone. Yeah, I would go to Wirecast before I bought a nice camera. So let's come up here, and this is me with a $100 camera with Wirecast with nice lights and nice microphones. And then finally you'll go to a better camera. So kind of look at me, and we will go to the higher quality camera. And there it is. Okay, so yeah, it's a little sharper, a little bit more control over the colors, a little bit more control over everything. But this is what it looks like. Oh, and also when you get Wirecast, you get the nice things for titles and all types of different stuff like that. So this is kind of the how you go from a $100 investment up to a $5,000 investment. But man, that hundred or several hundreds of dollars will take you all the way through to like having 50,000 subscribers. And then once you have 50,000 subscribers, then you can think about buying the better gear. Also, there's an expense when you go to the nicer camera. Like the Logitech camera, it's just a USB camera, you just plug it in. But these nice high-end Sony cameras, you can't just plug them into your computer because they're not USB, they're HDMI out. So you have to get a card, a magewell capture board, to turn the HDMI into USB. And one of the mistakes I made early on was I was trying to buy those cheap capture boards. Like the magewell is about $350, something like that. And I'd buy the cheap, like Camlink, $100 ones. And it's just like constantly my camera freezing up or my system crashing and all of that. So that's what I'm saying. You know, the camera is the least important thing, and don't buy the camera unless you have enough money to buy the good camera and the good HDMI to USB converter. Okay, otherwise you're just wasting your money on the camera because you're buying more camera than what your system can handle. Also, at the point that you really get into Wirecast and all these more complicated shots, you're going to need a good graphics card in your computer. And so you're going to reach the point that you've got more stuff going on than what your computer is going to be able to handle. And therefore, you'll need a good graphics card so that you're pushing a lot of that processing down on the GPU. And so at the point that you move to a nice camera, you're going to need a GPU, you're going to need a good graphics card in the computer, and you're going to need the good HDMI capture. Okay, guys, I've talked a lot about studio, and I'm just on number 2 of the 10, but the next one should go a lot quicker. So number 1, you want to pick a good theme. We have enough narcissists on YouTube already. We need people with expertise, skills, and knowledge. Okay, so you got to get a good theme. Then we can gradually, over time, begin to build our studio and our production quality, but content over production quality. Exceptional content, production quality just good enough to get by. Third tip to be successful on YouTube, don't try to monetize too early. If you're going in this to make money, you're going to lose enthusiasm. You're going to run out of steam before you ever make money. You've got to do it because you love it. You got to do it because you got a passion for it. And with that, don't try to monetize too early. I think YouTube allows you to monetize at about 1,000 subscribers. I would recommend that you don't do any monetization until you get about 10,000 subscribers. Then maybe at 10,000 subscribers, you could turn the ads on your YouTube, because then you've got a loyal following and they're not going to be offended or put off by the advertising. Okay, maybe when you get to 15 or 20,000 subscribers, then what you could do is start using affiliate links. Like what you can see is there's this gear. You can get the gear through my affiliate links. If people feel like they've learned things that I've taught them, they're very eager to use the affiliate links. So affiliate links can be a very important part of monetization, as can the advertisements. All right, and then I would really recommend really holding off, man. I would not set up Patreon and start asking for donations until you're like well over 50,000 subscribers, because nothing turns people off more than to come into a new channel and having someone pushing their Patreon, pushing their putting way too many ads in, and then pushing their affiliate links. It's very off-putting. And so save the monetization for later, where you already have loyalty, you've already established your brand, you already have people that are benefiting and have had enduring benefit from what you're doing on YouTube, and then they will be very eager to want to help out. So monetization, you can do affiliate links, you can do YouTube advertising, you can do direct support from customers. I have found that the merchandise is really a complete waste of time. The merch, as they call it on YouTube, from Teespring, it's a bunch of lame stuff that is way overpriced, and the content producer, you get very little. And so I just was so annoyed. I tried it for a little while, and then I was just so annoyed that I turned it off. You come up with good merchandise, link to a website that you have, and then offer something useful and productive on the website. But I found the whole Teespring YouTube merch thing to be kind of a waste of time. All right, so you want to delay the monetization till you don't even want to start it till you have like 10,000 subscribers. Now, you want to start developing a loyal following, and if you're going to do that, you've got to post at least once a week. You've got to post something at least once a week. Now, I have times where I can make a lot of videos, so I will queue them up. I might in a week make 20 or 30 videos, and then I release them one a week over time. And that way there's consistency. I'm always in front of people that once a week they can depend on new content from me, but I don't come in and release 20 videos and then disappear for 6 months. I try to release things over time. So you want to post regularly. Okay, I think developing a following, developing an audience, live streams and premieres are really good. So I think at the point that you start getting in the hundreds of subscribers, you can think about doing a live stream or a premiere. Don't get discouraged if your early live streams don't have a lot of people, or your early premieres don't have a lot of people. What I try to do is, as much as possible, I like to just release my videos as premieres when I can, because if you're there chatting with people, you're developing that sense of community. If you're chatting as your video is playing, that develops a sense of community. Now, if it's a certain topic where there's a goal of something specific I want to teach, I'll do a video and do it as a premiere. But I like to have live streams more as just hangouts with people. So like we just get together on Friday afternoon and it's their chance to ask me questions. And so my live streams seem to be a little bit more open forum, to where the things that are more specific or focused I will do as premieres. But really, premieres and live streams, I think, are an effective tool for building your channel. The other thing is, you really want to develop a sense of community. You don't want to just think, oh, they're going to search on this term and I want someone to come up to my video when they search on hydroponic gardening or something like that. And so, you got to think of it as developing a community of people that are interested in what you're talking about. And to develop that community, it takes effort on your part, and part of it is the comments. And what I recommend on comments is moderating all of your comments. All of your comments should be moderated. And therefore, by moderating my comments, I can create a very friendly environment. And so if someone comes on my channel and says, well, how do I open up a Linux terminal? I don't know how to do that. And then someone comes and responds to them. Have you ever heard of Google bleepity bleep and calls them a name. That's not a very friendly environment. And so I moderate all comments. And if they're rude, and not even if they're rude, not about being rude to me, but being rude to people in the community, I have a very positive and a very encouraging community because it's nice. And if some jerk comes along, I just ban him. And that way it's kind of like you just sit and accumulate nice people and good people, and they're nice to me, I'm nice to them, they're nice to each other. And so that positive environment is something people want to be a part of. And you get there by carefully moderating your comments and not tolerating any rudeness on your channel. Another thing is, I try, especially early on, I tried to respond to every single comment. Like, oh, wow, thanks for watching the video and really love your insights. Wow. Give them positive affirmation, because if you personally give them positive affirmation, then that makes them feel a part of the channel. And they're like, oh, I wonder if I say so. Oh, look, he's a nice guy. So try to respond to the comments. Now, this is easier earlier on than it is later on when you have 150,000 subscribers and you have hundreds of comments every day. You can't personally respond to everyone, but like give them a thumbs up or love their comment, kind of just acknowledge them. And then when you can respond to it. Okay. The other thing in developing a sense of community is to recognize your regulars. All right. So kind of know who your regular viewers are, your regular commenters, your regular participants in the live streams, and call them out like, oh, hi, Billy360, one of our regulars, welcome back. You see, if you recognize people, you make them feel a part of the channel, a part of the community, and then they'll come back, and then maybe they'll bring more people with them. So really work on building that sense of community, and as much as you can, really engage your following. So as you start developing a following, start developing this subscriber base, really try to engage them through social media, try to engage them through the comments, try to engage them by recognizing them as part of the little micro community that you are putting together. Okay, so number one was you got to have a theme. Number two, don't overdo the studio. Have production quality just good enough to get by. Don't monetize too early. Post regularly. Live streams and premieres are good. Develop a sense of community. We are now to number 7, and that is splitting your time between preparing the material for your stream or your video versus editing. Okay, and if you're really going to do a professional quality production, professional production quality, it's going to take a week, and you're only going to get 1 week out. You're going to get one video out a week, and the production quality isn't as important as the value of what you have to say. So like if I'm going to do a video, I'm out learning the topic, I'm figuring it out. And what I'll do in preparation, I'll kind of storyboard it. I think you need to have an outline for what you're going to do. You don't need a script for what you're going to do, but you're going to need an outline. I can write an outline for a video in 5, 10, 15 minutes. If I were to write the script, it would take 2 or 3 days. But I can wing it pretty good from an outline. So in preparation, I want to know my material. I want to be organized. I don't want to ramble. And so what I find good in preparation is I've got to learn what it is I'm going to talk about, get very familiar with it. Then I want to have a good outline, and then I want to show the people what I know, the expertise or the knowledge that I have that's going to be valuable to them. And as much as possible, I want to avoid rambling. And the way that I avoid rambling is by having an outline. But I think that preparation on being a subject matter expert on what you're talking about and having something cool and important to show, I think that is more important than spending a week editing and making the transitions perfect and all the perfect lighting and all the perfect, kind of like a television quality production. I'm a lot more about having something important to say than having fancy transitions between my themes or the perfect camera shot. Okay. Like I say, that's number 7. Number 8, I just sort of mentioned in number 7 as well. Number 8 is have a good outline. Every video you should have a purpose. Like, what is the purpose of the video? The purpose of this video is to tell you what I know about having a successful YouTube channel. That's something I know. That's something you might care about. I'm taking something that I know that I'm good at, that's important, and I'm giving it to you. You see, that's the purpose of this video. But just sitting and just ranting about something or rambling about something, you're going to lose your visitors, you're going to lose your viewers, you're never going to develop a channel that way. Okay. Now, the second thing is, or the 9th thing is, you ought to always want to constantly improve. Okay. This is the secret to success on YouTube. It's not about this video being perfect, because if you try to make this video perfect, you're going to get one video a week or one video a month out. It's not about this video being perfect. It's about the next video being better. And I really believe if you look at my first video versus my last video, everyone has gotten a little bit better. So one of the things I routinely do is I watch the video after I've made it and posted it, maybe wait a day or two so you've kind of got it, you know, not quite so fresh in your mind, and I watch it and I make notes. Okay, I make notes about how I could do the next one better. Don't beat up on yourself about the last one not being perfect, but thinking, how could I make the next one better? And kind of some of the things that you'll see is like, okay, my audio quality is bad. I really got to figure out my audio quality. Or a lot of people will use these filler words and these little mannerisms where they need a second to think what they're going to say, so they'll fill in a word like okay. I can't think of all the annoying words people use to fill in blank space, but watch for things like that and just don't be afraid if you need to stop and pause, maybe have some coffee, and as you're stopping and pausing, have a sip of coffee as you're compiling in your mind what you're going to say next, but don't fill in these annoying words like you know or and so or such and such. There's just these words that people use because they don't like, they're intimidated by blank space and they feel like they've got to fill in that gap with filler words. And so that's one of the things, one of my pet peeves, really watch out for filler words. Okay, so review and critique yourself, make every video a little better than the video before. And then the 10th thing is you want to develop consistency. You want to kind of have a brand. You want to sort of have a conceptual trademark that people know that they get from you. And so like the thumbnail, you don't want the thumbnails from your video to be random different things. This sounds kind of narcissistic, but all my videos just have my picture and they say, oh, there's that guy in the orange shirt. He makes good videos. So that's kind of my trademark on my thumbnails. They'll tell you like put a yellow strip with red words on it, but so much of that stuff is becoming such clickbait. I think that it becomes so overused that it doesn't work anymore. And so trying to copy someone else's thumbnails, I really don't think works. Develop your own kind of trademark where if there's 100 videos, they will always be able to recognize your thumbnail because it's got your picture or it's got some common theme that they will always recognize it as being you. It's like your brand, your trademark. You want to kind of develop a little bit of a brand. Then what people really want is they really want consistency. And right now we're like in a crazy world where random terrible things are happening all around us, and people are like, everything's changing, everything's going every which direction. They feel very uncomfortable and they feel very scared and nervous. What makes them feel good is consistency, that consistency in your thumbnail, consistency in your introduction. Hello guys, this is Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com, and we're here today with lesson number 23. I'm going to need you to pour yourself a nice big mug of ice cream. You see, have consistency, and that makes people comforted because of that consistency. And like what I found effective is to kind of have some catchphrases or trademark phrases. Mine is boom. Don't use boom, that's mine. it was like Emeril Assaji or whoever that chef is, his was bam, and that was kind of his trademark. So come up with a trademark, come up with kind of your introductory phrases and your thumbnails to give consistency, because that's what gives people comfort in the world today, is to have a place that they go, they know they're going to be accepted, they know they're going to be known, they're going to be recognized, they're part of a community, and what's going to happen in that community is very predictable, that they're going to be treated with respect and kindly, they're going to get a new skill or get new knowledge that is good, and so those are things that are good. So I kind of think that is the information that I have for you today. If there is interest in this, I will do a tutorial series on everything from picking your themes, how to stay out of trouble with copyrights, how to set up your studio. I could go in and actually show you all of this studio equipment and how to get it set up and how to kind of pace yourself from, this level of production to the next, to the next, to the next. Maybe that would be useful for a lot of you guys who are finding yourself needing to do online teaching here coming up in the fall. But I don't want to do this if this isn't useful, so leave me feedback down below. Is this something you want me to do a tutorial series on, or do you want me to just get back, just like shut up and get your Arduino out, right? So just kind of let me know what you guys think. Okay guys, I've had a lot of fun with this. I hope you view this video as being useful, and if you find it useful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and think about sharing it on your social media. Okay, this is Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com. I will talk to you guys later.